January 17th meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust will be in order. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the January 3rd meeting.
Move approval. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 3rd meeting. Are there comments or questions? Hearing none, voting please. The minutes are approved. The next item is the consent docket.
Move the consent docket subject to individual consideration. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket subject to individual consideration. There are 15 items. Anyone have any questions or comments about any of them individually?
I do have a quick question. This is on behalf of Mr. Ryan, who asked me this morning. There's some items on the construction project at Hefner, and he would like an update as to the sidewalks at in front of Lake Hefner and getting those back in.
I will follow up. We are nearing completion of the piping tie-ins on the east side of the project, which should help things along. But we'll get a detailed schedule for him.
You know, there's one thing to make sure we've got plenty of potable water to serve the needs in the future of Oklahoma City. It's another thing to make sure we get that sidewalk back in. So that
it's important. Yeah.
Are there any other questions on any other items on the consent docket? Hearing none, voting please. Consent docket's approved. Next item is the concurrence docket. One item.
Move the concurrence docket. Second.
Have a motion and a second on the concurrence docket. Discussion? Hearing none, voting please. Concurrence docket's approved.
yeah.
Next item on the agenda are items for individual consideration. Item 5A is a resolution receiving proposal from Deletion Brothers to conduct oil sampling at Lake Overholser. Soil sampling, not oil, soil.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 5A. I had a question. Is there some specific reason? Is that a routine thing that we do that, or is there some other reason?
No, sir, it's new. We have not dredged any part of Lake Overholser in our memory. Citizens asked us about whether we couldn't make a static improvement to the lake or water quality improvement to the lake last summer when the lake levels were down quite low, and they also apparently approached Lacey Brothers with that concept, who then came to us and we explained what the process might be. We want to make sure, we think the testing makes a lot of sense. They'll get a better understanding of what the quality of the material is and whether it can be readily reused. We'll get a better idea then by talking to them once they've done the soil sampling about whether it can be done meeting the restrictions that the Corps of Engineers told us about. We want to make certain that we do this in an environmentally sensitive way. In the 2003 Water Master Plan, they looked at the cost of dredging the entire lake, including the Stinchcomb Nature Reserve, and told us that would be $38 to $40 million in 2003 dollars, 8-year-old dollars. So work of this type, to have it done in return for the value of the soil, it could be very inexpensive, for a zero-sum game for us, for something that would be otherwise very expensive per 1,000 yards of material removed. At the same time, again, you want to manage the ecosystem of the lake and have that be a key priority or top priority as we go forward with this. We'll look at the whole thing and come back with it.
I guess a reservoir like Overholser, at some point you either have to dredge it or abandon it because it's going to silt in eventually, it would seem.
Yes, they estimated, again in 2003, that we were losing about 50 cubic yards a year, is the way I remember. 50 acre feet a year.
Okay.
Sam's going to correct me because I'm getting that number wrong, I can tell.
Sometimes it's very hard to hear in the back.
The volume we're losing in the lakes, the master plan said that we're losing 50 acre feet a year?
About 50 acre feet a year. It's not a whole lot that we're losing. Originally, it had a capacity of about 20,000 acre feet. Now we're down to about 13,000 throughout the year. So,
And it's pushing the end of its first century.
Yeah, that's quite a bit when you think about it. I think periods like the summer we just experienced point that out, how that loss of capacity makes a difference in a facility like Old Holster.
If we can do something that does not harm the ecosystem, makes it better for the users who are in there with boats, fishing, and things like that, I mean, that would be what we'd be looking, staff would recommend we look at on our side. We'll see what happens.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve item 5A. Further discussion? Voting, please. 5A is approved. Item 5B is to enter into executive session. Do we need executive session?
I'd suggest we go into executive session for just a minute.
Okay.
So I'd make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second to go into executive session. Voting, please. We will go into executive session. The next item, I think we'll go ahead and finish the agenda and do the go into executive session last. The next item is new business. Is there new business? Are there comments from trustees, staff, citizens? No citizens. There's no citizens here. All these people are just workers, as opposed to citizens. Okay. We are in recess to the executive session, and we'll return to adjourn.